would have been fact finding right there, right?
Right. Like if you really wanted to solve the problem, maybe you'd find these things out.
Yeah, and I think neither one of them wants to humanize the people who are coming across too much.
Yeah, which is too bad because they are. Yeah. They're people. You know? Right.
These are humans that, despite the portrayal as criminals and thugs and all that, it's primarily families and a lot of women and little kids in some cases.
All right. Jim Ryan, thank you so much for checking in with us. We appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
All right, take care.
Take care. Let's get back to some of the stories coming out of the KFI 24-hour newsroom. LA County Supervisor Catherine Barger says officials are paying attention to the ongoing odor and health issues around the Chiquita Canyon landfill in the Santa Clarita Valley.
This board, in collaboration with our state partners, will hold the landfill accountable and ensure that they deploy every resource available to solve this problem.
Neighbors have sued to shut the site down. Chiquita Canyon says it's continuing mitigation efforts. Local officials say the site is not out of compliance and can't be shut down yet. Lots of reports of a really foul stench coming from the canyon and also health issues resulting from that. The last of 3 men charged have pleaded guilty to bombing an abortion clinic in Costa Mesa with a Molotov cocktail.
They have a cocktail of hatred.
U.S. Attorney Martin Estrada says the group was caught with banned weapons, silencers, neo-Nazi paraphernalia, and writings declaring an unbelievable desire to murder journalists.
Hatred towards LGBTQ individuals, towards women, towards people of different races, and trying to start a race war.
He says on top of the 2022 abortion bombing, the group planned to attack a power grid, anti-defamation facilities, and Pride Night at Dodger Stadium. The last man pleaded guilty yesterday. The first sentencing is set for next month at federal court in Santa Ana. Corbin Carson, KFI News.
Governor Newsom says stories of favoritism in the state's new minimum wage law for fast food workers are absurd. Panera Bread was said to be exempt from the law because a franchisee is a friend of the governor and a longtime donor. But ABC's Andy Field says Panera may not be exempt after all.
California's new law says only restaurants that use bread for sale on site qualify for an exemption. And since Panera mixes its dough off-site, it's not exempt.
The minimum wage law takes effect in April. And Chick-fil-A is recalling some of its sauces. The chain says its Polynesian dipping cups, yummy, taken open February 14th and the 27th, may have a different sauce in them that includes wheat and soy allergens. Customers being urged to just toss them. When we come back, we're going to be checking in with the House Whisperer and the host of Home on Campfire, Steve Sharp, fresh off a trip to the International Builder Show. So you can bet he's going to have the hottest new tools to tell us about and all the happening new toys and trends, too. Southland weather from KFI. Clouds this morning, 40% chance of rain this afternoon, highs in the 50s to low 60s. Rain likely tonight, rain off and on all day tomorrow, with highs in the 50s to mid 60s. Still a chance for rain Monday morning, then should start to clear by the afternoon. It's 55 in Brea, 57 in Los Alamitos. We've got slowing in Riverside on 91.
Right now, it's going to be slow going from before last year, and there's stretches to be on the 15 and 71 is being great for the 240 road now. Friday morning light adjacent if you build up, but it's definitely delays building for you in the area. Want to give you a heads up on that. It also looks like it's issues for you in Orange County. You're going to be on the southbound side of the 55 between the 405 and the 73 right around Baker. It is a wreck involving a big rig that took out a bunch of those barrels, the yellow ones, the attenuators that are there to protect either an off-ramp or something. Anyway, looks like you've got lanes blocked, and definitely you see a bit of a busy drive for you. 55 southbound as you come away from the 405.
It's Conway here. Are you thinking about selling your home? Stop! If it's not in tip-top shape, you might lose out on 20 to 50% of your home's value before you sell.
History is beautiful, brutal, and often ridiculous. Join me on Ben and as we dive into some extreme history across the state of civilization and ridiculous history. Whether we're exploring the accidental invention of folk music or how people used to plant pineapples. Join us to hear the many ways history can be so ridiculous. Listen to Ridiculous History on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you find your favorite podcast.
You know that detergent jug is 80% water, right?
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better claim, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure concentrated ingredients.
Pass me the intercom thing.
Attention shoppers. If you want a real deal, try Tide Pods. Don't pay for water. Pay for clean. If
replaced bark-related detergent. As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia gives you access to all. Every audience, live conversations, just influencers, and the insights and data you need to grow. iHeartMedia is your access company. Go to iHeartMedia.
Jim was at the laundromat when he heard, "It's your scent, Maracas, New York," but his nose said, "Hey, freshest scent ever." Following his nose, Jim found a man putting cane scent beads into the washer. The scent, the freshness. Jim blurted, "Sir, your scent maracas smell amazing." You could call them scent maracas, but most noses call them cane scent beads. Try cane scent beads. Way fresher than detergent alone.
Their friends at Revive to see if you qualify for the most innovative selling solution I've ever encountered. Sell 360 by Revive. It's a brand new renovation program, and here's how it works. Revive will initially purchase your home at a fair price, just like any other person buying your home. But then, here comes the game change. Revive goes in, renovates your home, and pays you again when your home sells later for the renovated value, which is going to be higher. That's right. It's like selling your home twice and getting 2 checks. Right now, the average homeowner who sells with Revive receives an additional $188,000 they would have otherwise left on the table. That is a fact. You can sell your home quickly and still unlock the full potential with Revive's Sell 360. Go see if your home qualifies. Go to KFIRevive.com. That's KFIRevive.com. Or simply pick up your cell phone and dial pound 250 and say Revive. Pound 250, Revive.
Hey y'all, it's Dean. I'm going to get with Amy in just a second to talk about some stuff from the International Builders Show. But right now, I want to talk to business owners, large and small. Let's talk about emergency backup power. You know, it's no longer a question of if your power is going to go down. You know that. And you know, with the power, so goes your biz. It happens in the best of years, but with all sorts of unexpected weather happening, the one thing you can definitely count on is more outages. Fortunately, for emergency backup power, here's the name you need to know. Ducky Power. Since 1965, Southern California business has relied on Ducky for power in the most critical situations. We're talking hospitals, high-rises, data centers, school districts, restaurants, radio stations, and retail. Every form of business, big or small. Whether your business needs a generator or your existing generator needs Duffy's legendary maintenance services, Duffy has got you covered 24/7. So learn how to protect your business from the next outage and all the ones that are coming after that. Power.com, Power.com.
Looking for a career you love with flexibility, great pay, and benefits, and one of the country's top workplaces? Join the growing team at Progressive Insurance. Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today.
Join us for the first bobblehead giveaway of the season. Be here Saturday, March 30th at 6:10 p.m. versus the Cardinals. The first 40,000 fans in attendance receive a Freddie Freeman bobblehead presented by Bank of America. For tickets and information, visit Dodgers.com/promotions.
Lately, our homes have experienced more of us. More dishes, more flushes, and more shower time concerts. After 50 years of encores, Mr. Rooter Plumbing Service professionals are equipped to handle anything. We're your neighbor you can call anytime, and we'll be there because we've been here all along. Mr. Rooter Plumbing, a neighborly company. Visit MrRooter.com today.
Semper Solaris, your source for all your solar roofing and heating and air needs. Go to SemperSolaris.com.
The daily calendar.
Today, March 1st.
Today is Baby Sleep Day. Good luck with that. It's International Ideas Month and Welsh Corgi Day. Corgi in Welsh translates to dwarf dog. That's just being, it's the National Day of Unplugging. Can you make it all day? Employee Appreciation Day. And it's Minnesota Day, and those Minnesotans can use some pop. Happy birthday, Justin Bieber, Kesha, Harry Belafonte, the host Roger Daltrey, and director Ron Howard. That's your daily calendar from KFI AM 640.
I'm sorry that you left me. Change my mind up like a soda got me. I'm sorry.
It's 5:46 on your wake up call. Good Friday morning to you. I'm Amy King. Here's what we're following in the KFI 24-hour news closer northern California mountains are under a blizzard warning with up to 10 feet of snow expected to fall in and around Lake Tahoe. Caltrans is urging drivers to stay off the roads. It says travel is going to be nearly impossible because of whiteout conditions. Hundreds of officers have lined the sidewalk and applauded as Michael Moore left LAPD headquarters. Moore officially retired yesterday after more than 40 years with the LAPD, the last 6 as chief. Assistant Chief Dominic Choi takes over as interim police chief starting today. The University of California at Riverside has increased the maximum size of its class on Disneyland. Students in the class design theme park rides and attractions. Sounds fun to me. The class has become so popular it's dealing with a real-life Disneyland issue. A long line of students waiting to get in. At 6:05, it's Handle on the News. Know anyone headed to Mexico for spring break? We'll tell you why you might want to rethink that. At 5:50, there might actually be something worth seeing at the movie theater this weekend. And we have ABC's Jason Nathanson to tell us all about it. That's coming up in about 15 minutes. Right now, let's say good morning to the host of Home on KFI, our very own house whisperer, Dean Sharp.
Good morning, Amy.
Good morning, Dean. Fresh off your trip to Las Vegas and the International Builders Show. You got lots of goodies to share with us.
Yeah, it was a good show. It really was great. We just touched down yesterday afternoon, so we're back and we're getting back into the flow. And there was a lot confirming some of the things that we've been telling our listeners for a while, but there's always fun new stuff to look at. I was impressed. I don't know if you got a chance to look at the a couple of the videos that I sent you, but I was impressed with how many modern appliances, and I mean like high-tech, just hot off the press modern appliances, are being wrapped in vintage packages, vintage skins. This is a trend now. A lot of people interested in retro, like modernism, 1950s stuff. They want a kitchen that kind of has that vibe to it. And up until, in the last few years, technically the way that you handle it is by going and finding, maybe a 70-year-old oven, like a Hot Point or something like that, and paying a lot of money to have it restored, at which point you've got a functioning oven, but it's a 70-year-old oven, as opposed to something lean and mean and high-tech. Well, now you don't have to make that choice anymore, because you can have an oven or a cooktop or a refrigerator that looks like it came right out of the 50s, but is brand spanking new with 21st century technology.
Okay, here's my question on this. Is that going to be a passing trend? Because when you get one of these things, especially like looking at this retro-looking fridge, I mean, that's a big investment, and it should be around for a while. Is it going to lose its luster quickly?
Yeah, I get asked about that all the time, and it's not a trend, and this is not for everybody. This is for people who are committed to, for instance, modernism architecture. This, you've got a postmodern home, you've got a 1950s kind of house, and you're committed to it. There's no way out of it. There's no way of avoiding the fact that this is the architecture of your home. And people have been frustrated that they haven't been able to match those up with appliances. So it's not so much a trend where everybody should run out and get an old-looking stove, because, not many people are in that category. But if you are, and there are a lot of folks who live in those mid-century homes, Palm Springs, for instance, is filled with them. It's like the world capital of them. Then you're looking for stuff that fits with that home better than modern appliances have in the past. So it was exciting.
Okay. And then staying in the kitchen, going from retro to full-on, wow, this is interesting and innovative. Tell us about this kitchen sink that's more than just a sink, a whole lot more.
Yeah, so this was one example, and that's kind of the stuff that we're aiming at everybody. When you're planning your new kitchen, when it comes to your appliances and your fixtures like a sink, you don't have to just think inside the box of, okay, well, it's a sink, right? Now, there is everything imaginable with the sink. The one that I showed you, it has 3 basins. It's a large sink, 3 basins. The center basin, large enough for big cookie sheets and pans. It's a big single basin sink, but on each side, the basin to the right, that is a top-loading mini dishwasher.
What?
And the basin to the left is a basin where there's a little bit of a recessed container where you can put your veggies that just came from the market. And set those down there, close the lid, and it will actually do the spray washing of all of your produce for you. So you've got a produce wash bay and a top-loading miniature dishwasher for those very, very small loads. Maybe you've just created 2 or 3 dishes that need to have a run through. All of this is sitting there as a part of this sink.
And it's cool looking, and you can close the top then too, so you're not looking at that all the time. You see the sink, and then the washer on the right and the left just closes down, right?
Exactly. Yeah, in fact, when you're washing your vegetables, you want to close the top because there's a bottom sprayer that's spraying all of this. So yeah, they completely close down and seal out of the way, and that needs more counter space actually, because you can use the lids to stack and store things, and the sink in the middle. And that's just one example of all the multiple configurations that you can get these days when it comes to a kitchen sink.
Okay, and then heading over to the stove, I like this idea because you get the vents that are big and ugly, they're very functional over your stove top, but this one is disappearing.
Yes, I've had a long, difficult relationship with hood vents over cooktops just because they're either huge and they have to be, there's this big bell coming down and we have to make them look like they belong in the kitchen. These days, even when we're doing a historic kitchen, so often I just want it to kind of go away. I want to move on to other things. This is the kind of vent hood that works in that way. It actually hides behind cabinetry. It's up out of the way. It's not a low ridge that I hit my head on all the time at 6'3", believe me. And yet, it has an 800 CFM fan, and when you call for it, and you call for it by waving your hand underneath it, it actually telescopes down to about a foot or so away from the top of the pan. It's completely adjustable. You get a fan that powerful right next to where the smoke or the steam is emitting from. Nothing gets out into the room. So it reaches down and puts the suction exactly where it should be when you need it, and then when you're done cooking, it just goes away.
That is a very, very cool new toy. I like that one. And then the last one is, it's a beverage cooler, and going back to the retro thing that you can put in a party room, and it looks like an old classic Fiat.
It is. It's literally molded from the front of this classic little mini Fiat car, and you lift the hood. It's half of it. It's just, you don't get the windshield, but everything windshield forward. You get the front tires, the bumper, the headlights. When you lift the hood, really what you find is an amazing, again, very high-tech beverage cooler in there. So there's room for, there's beers and sodas, and there's an ice dispenser, and it's all just great. Now, it doesn't go outside, it goes inside, but it's so creative. And yes, there's a little horn, and the headlights work too.
I love that. I love party rooms because you can have so much fun with them. That would be a really cool thing. And you can hear more about what Dean discovered at the International Builders Show and lots of other stuff going on this weekend on Home with Dean Sharp. You can listen 6 to 8 a.m. on Saturday and 9 to noon on Sunday. Thank you, Dean.
Absolutely. Thanks, Amy.
All right, let's get back to some of the stories coming out of the KFI 24-hour newsroom. The latest snow survey in the Southern Sierra shows the snowpack in the area at 77% of average, compared to 177% this time last year. Statewide, the snowpack is at almost 80% of average. On January 1st, that number was just 28%. State meteorologist Michael Anderson says the blizzard conditions this weekend will add to the snowpack.
I mean, these are phenomenal accumulation of snow, 5 to 10 feet above 5,000 feet. I'll run it for 4 feet in that 3,000 to 5,000 foot range.
Northern California already has more snow than the state average, and as we've been telling you, it's expecting another 10 feet of snow to hit this weekend. From the Southern California Toyota Dealers Traffic Center, let's go places. We've got problems, big ones in Temecula.
We have all lanes shut down along the 15. Trying to get that confirmed with CHP. Definitely can confirm that northbound lanes to 15 are shut down. This is going to be coming away from Rainbow Valley Boulevard. If you make your way towards Temecula Parkway, it's a real mess of your drive there. Looks like you're barely moving, and you can use Rainbow Valley Boulevard as an alternate, although that will only get you to Pachanga Parkway or Temecula Parkway, and then you're going to have to head a little bit more into Temecula to get yourself further northbound. The southbound side of the 15, it does look like a bigger may have gone through the center divider, so you're seeing a packed and tight drive as well. 15 southbound for the merge of the 215. That's a mess for your drive. Haven't had an update. Appreciate it. Would love the details of what you're seeing or the delays you're stuck in. Pounds of 15 or cell phone. Keyword is KFI traffic. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Nick Polioke.
The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 commercial-free stations like The Vinyl Experience. Just search Vinyl Experience and listen now on your free iHeartRadio app. Free never sounded so good.
Ew, gotta get rid of this old Backstreet Boys t-shirt.
Tell me why.
Because it stinks, boys.
Tell me why.
I've washed it so many times, but the odor won't come out.
Tell me why.
No, you tell me why I can't get rid of this odor.
Have you tried out Erase and Refresh? It doesn't just cover up odors. It helps remove them.
Wow, it worked, guys.
Yeah.
Downy Rinse and Refresh removes more odor in one wash than the leading value detergent in 3 washes. Find it wherever you buy laundry products. As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia gives you access to all, every audience, live conversations, trusted influencers, and the insights and data you need to grow. iHeartMedia is your access company. iHeartResults.com for more.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears. Like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppable bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. It's a longer-lasting freshness plus color protection with Downy Unstoppable scent beads.
This is the iHeartRadio Sports Report.
In women's college basketball, Iowa star Caitlin Clark announced on social media yesterday that she will be finishing her college career this year and won't be coming back for a 5th season at Iowa via the COVID-19 waiver. Clark, who almost certainly will be the WNBA's #1 pick by the Indiana Fever, broke the women's major college scoring record Wednesday with a 33-point performance at Minnesota. She has 3,650 points and is 18th, passing LSU's Pete Maravich, who holds a Division I overall record between men and women's basketball with 3,667. In the NFL, the Vikings informed running back Alexander Madison yesterday that he was being cut. The move will save the Vikings $3.35 million against their 2024 cap. And at the NFL Combine yesterday, Penn State's John Robinson turned in the first eye-popping workout, officially clocking a time of 4.48 seconds in the 40-yard dash. Robinson became only the second player in the last 20 years to get more than 250 pounds, run the 40 in 4.5 seconds or less. 10.5 feet. I'm Andy West with your iHeartRadio Sports Report.
For the best sports stations in the country and the most sports podcasts with the biggest personalities in the game on demand.
The good stuff, yeah. Camps keeps you on top of pop culture.
A big box for a film about the so-called Cold Wars in the 1980s. The studio.
Progressive presents advice on new teen drivers.
You know, the hardest part about teaching your teen to drive is the chafing from the seatbelt. But the best part is the grip strings you build and your knuckles. Okay, now let's pull out of the driveway.
Here's another tip. Offset a chunk of the cost of adding a teen to your insurance with Progressive's teen driver discount. And get a break from the break. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates not available in all states or situations.
When something happens in the KFI studios, check it out on our socials at KFI AM 640 before somebody makes us take it down.
It's 5:52 on your wake-up call. Good morning, I'm Amy King. Thanks for starting your Friday with us. Here's what we're following in the KFI 24-hour newsroom. The big big storm moving through Northern California has prompted Yosemite National Park to shut down. Visitors have been told to leave no later than noon today. Several feet of snow is expected to fall in the park through the weekend. Snow levels in Southern California are expected to drop to about 4,000 or 5,000 feet, with up to a foot expected above 6,500 feet. A high wind watch is in effect in the Antelope Valley foothills and West San Gabriel Mountains through Sunday afternoon, with gusts expected up to about 60 miles an hour. A factory in Harupa that makes environmentally friendly buses for LA Metro and Foothill Transit systems shutting down. Rev Group says the ENC bus business and plant will close once it completes outstanding orders. About 400 people are going to lose their jobs. We're just minutes away from Handle on the News this morning. Elon Musk has sued OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT. Bill's going to tell you why. Right now, let's check in with ABC's entertainment guru. It's Jason Nathanson. Jason, finally something to look forward to at the box office this weekend.
Yeah, thank God, because there's been some real stinkers the past few weeks and not a whole lot of money at the box office so far this year. So Dune 2 is going to open. It's going to be the biggest opening so far this year. This was a movie that, remember, was moved from November of last year to this time because of the strikes. Remember the actors' strike?
Oh, yeah, those things.
Those things that happened last year. They thought, Warner Brothers was worried that this movie wasn't going to get the promotion it deserved. And for sure, you've seen a lot of promotion over the past couple of months with they've had endless screenings and the cast out there doing all kinds of interviews and on every show and everything. So finally, that all comes to a culmination, and now you have Dune Part 2, which I gotta say I went into a little bit apprehensive because I was not a big fan of Dune Part 1. It just did not work for me. I thought it was long. I thought it was pretty boring. I didn't get into the world, mythology, and everything. Dune Part 2, fantastic.
Really?
Yeah, this is what I wanted, I guess, Dune Part 1 to be. Which is interesting because, it's rare for a movie, a sequel, to kind of shift to perspective like that.
Yeah.
And really come in and not only be better, and it is, in terms of the reviews, it is much better reviewed. Although Dune Part 1 was pretty well reviewed. We got a bunch of Oscar nominations and wins for special effects and things like that. People really liked it, and it did well at the box office. But it didn't sit right well with everybody, and I was one of those. So Part 2, if Timothée Chalamet is back as Paul Atreides, and he is basically, this is a revenge movie. The first one set it up where everything happened, and, his family was wronged, and his father was killed, and now he is out for revenge. I highly recommend, if you're going to go see this, that you catch up on what happened in the first one.
That's what I was going to ask you. Do you have to watch the first one?
You don't have to watch it, but you need to read a detailed description just to remember. Because if you're anything like me, hours after watching something that's out of my head, I don't retain that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And this was, the first one came out in 2021. It was one of those that came out, it did come out during the pandemic, and when people weren't really going to theaters, although they did go to see this. The opening weekend was something like 40 million, but they released it at home around the same time as well. So, you might not, it's been 3 years basically, so you might not remember. And this is very complicated. It's sprawling. There's a lot of characters with weird names. It's just one of those things that you're not going to remember everything. And the more even I read up on it, got detailed stuff, and even with that, some stuff still confused me a little bit in Part 2. I'm not going to lie.
And you do this for a living. The rest of us are screwed.
Right. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
But this time around, for whatever reason, the mythology is so much richer and more interesting. The cinematography is beautiful, of course. Special effects, absolutely captivating. Everybody, Rebecca Ferguson is absolutely fantastic. As Timothée Chalamet's mom, she gets a lot more to do here. Zendaya is also great. She gets a lot more to do. She was barely in the first one. Florence Pugh this time around. Austin Butler as the bad guy.
Wait, that's Elvis, right?
That is Elvis, correct. In a very almost unrecognizable character.
Great.
Here, he's fantastic. So all around, 2 thumbs up. Whatever scale you want to give it.
That's a glowing recommendation.
Yes.
Jason. All right, let's switch over to the stream. Adam Sandler has a new movie out, and he's not funny in this one.
No. I wish I liked Spaceman as much as I liked Dune Part 2, but that's sadly not the case. Spaceman is it's not your typical Adam Sandler movie, so don't expect going in with him doing the I'm a spaceman. That's not what this is.
Because that would be funny.
That would be funny. He plays an astronaut who's on a very long, I think over a year mission to go check something out in space, and he's by himself. So this whole thing, the whole movie is about loneliness. It's about loneliness and leaving.
I don't need to go to the movies for that.
Well, you can watch it at home. Alone.
Yeah. Gee, that sounds
That loneliness here, and I think that's what it's really about at its core essence. But it's achingly slow. It's all about dreams and flashbacks, which I really don't like. His wife is played by Carey Mulligan. She's pregnant and back on Earth, and they're having a tough time really connecting. There's a spider-like alien voiced by Paul Dano, who the two of them do connect. He's not scary. It's not a scary movie type thing at all. But it did not work for me.
Okay, well then let's move on to something else.
Sure.
Shogun.
Yes, fantastically reviewed new series on FX, a 10-episode limited series. There was an Emmy-winning 1980 NBC miniseries, you might remember.
With Richard Chamberlain. I went and looked it up last night.
There you go. And this is, I haven't seen it yet, it's getting rave reviews. I think at one point it was 100% fresh rated on Rotten Tomatoes.
Men's Health Magazine said it's pure epic television.
There you go. I haven't read Men's Health Magazine in quite a while for their movie and TV show recommendations.
I didn't either. I just read the headline because I was wondering if it was tied to, if it was a remake of the 1980 series.
I mean, it's based. The original source material is a book.
Okay.
James Clavell's novel. So that's where they both come from. It's set in feudal Japan. It's 1600. So it's a period piece. Civil War is brewing, and you kind of get to this.
Jason Nathanson.
You're welcome.
All right, this is KFI and KOST HD2, Los Angeles, Orange County. Southland weather from KFI, clouds with areas of drizzle this morning, increasing chance of rain through the day. Highs in the low 60s at the beaches. Metro LA, inland OC, around 60 in the valleys, low 60s for the IE, 40s and 50s in the Antelope Valley. Then we're expecting rain pretty much all day tomorrow, highs in the upper 50s to mid 60s. Still a chance for showers Sunday morning, and then it should dry out by the afternoon. It's 51 in Diamond Bar, 57 Newport Beach, 46 in Palmdale, 53 in Pomona. We lead local, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. For producer Ann and technical producer Tony, I'm Amy King. This has been your wake-up call. If you missed any wake-up call, you can listen anytime on the iHeartRadio app. We've got a mess in Temecula on the 15.
Mess up your morning drive, especially as you're making your way southbound. So it's being reported on the northbound side of the 15 between Rainbow Valley Boulevard and Temecula Parkway, and allegedly everything is being cleared to the center divider, but at least for the time being, all northbound lanes of the 15 are shut down. And it looks like it may be also the 15 southbound lanes that are off limits. So 15 southbound packed in tight, barely moving from the Caltrans scans in the area from before Marion Hot Springs Road, coming off the 215 southbound on the northbound side of the 15. Going to be best for you as well as you come away from before Rainbow Valley Boulevard. So you can always hop off the 15 and take Rainbow Valley Boulevard or Old Highway 395 northbound. That's a mess as well. Try to get into it through the Temecula area as you make your way toward Temecula Parkway and Pawtucket Parkway. And then you have to get into Temecula itself to be able to get a little bit further north and hopefully reconnect a little bit more easily with the 215 and the 15. Got an update on this or anything else slowing down your drive? Pound 215 yourself on keyword KFI traffic. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Nick Polly on TV.
Bad breath is actually no fun. Absolutely no fun, no matter who has it. You, your friends, coworkers, your loved ones, who may not be loved ones after you smell their breath. So let me introduce you to Zellman's Minty Mouth Mints. Not just a mint, it's a breath freshener. And it's a tiny little capsule that you swallow, clinically tested against the toughest offenders, garlic, onions, me. You pop 2 or 3 in your mouth, you suck on the minty coating, and then you swallow the capsule for fresh, clean breath that literally lasts for hours. You can also bite it and that works. And it doesn't just cover up your bad breath, it cleans your breath in a way other mints can't. And it fights bad breath in your mouth and then goes down your gut and really gets to work, and I use it all the time. They give you a money-back guarantee that I know you'll never use. Free shipping if you order 3 packs or more, and you're going to want more. I know that. And I've known the folks behind Zellman's for over 30 years, and I proudly stand by this product, or stand in front of it, or stand in front of you with good breath. Go to Zellmans.com, ZELMINS.com. 15% off when you use the code KFI. Zellmans, ZELMINS, Zellmans.com.
History is beautiful, brutal, and often ridiculous. Join me, Ben Bull,
And me, Noel Brown, as we dive into some of the strangest stories from across the span of human civilization in ridiculous history.
Whether we're exploring the accidental invention of gold leaf
Or how people used to plant pineapples. Join us to hear the many ways history can be oh so ridiculous.
Listen to Ridiculous History on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you find your favorite podcast.
We all need help understanding God's Word sometimes. The In Touch Radio Network on iHeartRadio provides biblical teaching you can trust, featuring daily devotions, the sermons of Dr. Charles Stanley, and our Spanish station, In Contacto. The In Touch Radio Network will lift you up throughout your day and help you gain a deeper understanding of God's Word. Listen anytime and anywhere. Just search In Touch on your iHeartRadio app.
Listen on the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, sports, talk, and podcasts. Free never sounded so good. KFI AM 640. And now, Handle on the news. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Bill Handle.
And good morning, everybody. Friday, March the 1st. As we are now into, I guess, are we into spring officially?
Not yet.
And I don't know the answer to that. When does spring start? When does
March 20th.
That's the solstice. Do they call it the solstice? Because I know you got solstice, then you got
And then it's the equinox in this fall.
right, the equinox. That's it. I actually knew that, but I always get the two confused for some reason. I also get, and to this day, I get the number of which months have 31 and which months have 30, and I never know. I know that that knuckle thing, but it doesn't work because my tattoos on my knuckle get in the way on that one. What knuckle thing? You know, there's a you do a knuckle thing where you count. You've never heard of that?
No, that's why I'm asking you.
Yeah, no, knuckle counting.
How can you count when they're driving?
That's very funny. Thank you very much. Hey Siri, how do you count the days of the month with your knuckles? Knuckles are counted as 31 days. Depressions between the knuckles are 30 days. One starts with a little finger knuckle as January, and then one finger depression at a time is counted towards the index finger knuckle July. There you go. I knew that. See?
I feel like I just got dumber for some reason.
It's the knuckle thing.
The knuckle thing. My mom she has some sort of a little ditty about it. Like 30 days, half November, I don't remember what it was. I'll have to look it up.
Why do we need to know?
Because I question it. March, does it have 31 days or does it have 30 days?
Who cares?
I care. It's entertainment. This is what we do. We don't do entertainment. We come up with useless facts. That's the point of this show. Not to learn anything except stupid stuff.
So, Bill, it's every other month has 31 days except July and August. Both have 31. And except February, which has 28 or 29.
Did you say every other month has 31 except July and August, which has 31? Did you just say that? I think you did.
Yeah, back to back.
Back to back, yeah.
Oh,
Hey, tell me your locals.
Let me say hello.
It's everybody scratching their heads at this point.
Yeah, good morning. Morning, Ann.
Morning.
Okay, there she is.
Morning.
Morning, Neil, hello.
This little piggy went to the market. This little piggy stayed home. This little piggy that's the only knuckle thing I know.
I like ditties. Loose lips, sink ships. And then yesterday, my favorite one, lead a horse to water, but you can't lead a horticulture.
Loose lips, by the way, also sing presidencies.
That's also true. Yeah. All right, Ann, good morning.
Hi. So yeah, the equinox is spring. So just so you guys know, solstice is summer.
Yeah, summer and winter are solstice. Spring and fall are equinox. Yes.
All right, thank you. And then Tony, no Robin today. Just Tony.
Just
right?
me. And my mom did the knuckle thing too, just so you know.
See, Neil, it's the knuckle thing. Now, I don't know how to do it, but it's the knuckle thing.
Okay. Fair enough.
All right.
That's back. We have computers now, but apparently knuckles. It's like a flesh abacus. Go ahead. That's fine.
All right. Got a lot to cover again today, and let's go into the big story. First of all, let me introduce this segment, this hour of our show with Handel on the news. Amy King, Neil Saavedra, and me. Lead story.
Closing time.
Yeah. All right. House and Senate did pass that stopgap bill to a partial government shutdown that would end this weekend. And, well, boy, good for them. They gave it another week to disagree. So Mike Johnson, the speaker, who is, he's a sycophant of, much like Kevin McCarthy when he was speaker, calls the former president, says, what should we do this morning? And so they put everything off a week. That's right. Very impressive. House vote 320 to 99, 132 Republicans voting in favor, 97 voting against. Didn't want wanted the government to shut down. Or, you know, one of the things that is super conservative and most Republicans, and they have an absolute point on this one, how long and how far do you go into deficit spending? I mean, I remember when $200 million, not just a few years ago, $200 billion was insanity. And then we went to $500 and $600 billion, and we couldn't believe it. And now it's north of $1 trillion, maybe $2 trillion. And is this a house of cards, or is this a house of cards that's put together with super glue, and it's just going to keep on going and going and going? And we're going to be, our national debt is going to be so high that we'll never be able to pay it off. Inflation, assuming we go into zero deficit, which has happened twice in the last 80 years. 1 year under Eisenhower, 1 year after Bill Clinton, 1 year during Bill Clinton's time when we had we were actually buying back. But money was pouring in. It wasn't Bill Clinton that did it. It's cycles through the economy. And now we're going completely crazy. Maybe there's no limit. Maybe it's forever. So if we go into zero deficit spending, and we owe $40 trillion, which no one can even imagine. 100 years from now, with inflation, keep on zero deficit, it'll be very little money. All right, let's move on.
Even going to a funeral in Russia can be risky, but still hundreds of mourners turned out in Moscow for the funeral of Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny. There was a heavy police presence around the church. The people at the funeral chanted Navalny's name and said, "You were not afraid, we are not afraid." He was buried a short time after the funeral.
And they were all buried next to him.
And it was illegal because that was an unauthorized gathering as far as the government's concerned. They passed a bill a couple of years ago, or last year, that made these kinds of attendances or gatherings, and no matter how legitimate,
James Kaminsky.
becomes a law, which is crazy.
Was anyone arrested?
I don't know.
James, can you hear me?
That is
Rabbi,
Good morning. How are you?
altruistic Elon Musk. He is suing OpenAI
Good, thank God.
CEOs.
So I got the new, and we will see how this works. But it's better than being homeless, so can't beat that. I don't know if you can see, but there's a projector, and it's live on YouTube. Just one moment, let me turn down the video.
The original founding charter was to do it for mankind instead of profit.
No, it was.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. All right, so I did a little experiment, and so like my biggest issue, really one of my biggest issues in my life, has been lack of internet connectivity. You're like, Rabbi, you just had like connectivity for 2.5 years or whatever. Yeah, but it would go down, like my internet would go down like, I don't know, once or twice a day, unexpectedly, which is a pain in the ass. And that meant I could never really get any momentum going on Twitter Spaces because I'd host the space, I'd get like, 50 people in there, and then boom, it goes down. And there's no like real controlling that. Now the other way is like you can use your phone line. But then if you get a call, it becomes really complicated, and it's just there's no real perfect solution to it. So what I've done is I dedicated a phone to running a Twitter space here, just to see, because ideally what I want to do is have a Sproto space on Twitter 24/7, so that when people are like at work on their lunch hour or somebody's traveling or whatever, they can just hop in on a Twitter space, but also that gets new blood into whatever we're doing, wherever we are. And I think that is important because, more specifically, to get new people in here to know about the coin, to know about our projects, to know about all the good stuff that we do. And then they get in the Telegram. But they're not going to get in the Telegram just randomly. Very few people will. They're going to get in if we talk to them on Twitter Spaces, because it's like a lifeline to the outside world. So I am contemplating starting to do 24/7 Twitter Spaces. Now, the issue is content. The content to produce 24/7 Twitter Spaces is like, I can't talk that long. The most I can do is like 24 hours. Like that's, and it's grinding. Then you have to sleep all the next day and stuff. It's like, no. So I was thinking to just like listen to all the Joe Rogan podcasts. And when people come in, turn them off. And then when people leave or whatever, then just keep them going. So that when people come in here, they're like, well, I know if I'm the only person there, there's going to be something that's, I don't know, someone, it's just content. You just need something. And it was a thought that I had. So what are your thoughts?
I like it. Yeah, I followed up with that account you have. It's like, is it live currently?
Yeah, it is live. Did you see I had a bunch of accounts in there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the way I was able to do that, and that's another thought too, is there's this program you can use for Mozilla Firefox. Probably I have found the best way to do it. It's called Containers, and basically it allows you to run multiple sessions of different websites simultaneously. And so I can run I'm only limited by the amount of computing power I have at a certain point. And I hit that a lot. When you got this much going, and it's really a portable setup. Everything I have is a laptop. I don't have any desktop computers. I have to be able to travel. I mean, I'm like literally like, I don't know, like a modern day, how would I put it? There's not really an equivalent, but it's like almost like a modern day jester where I have to have like this presentation. And in order to do it, you have to be able to travel and do all these other things. And so it's interesting, but I think it'd be important for our community to be able to have communication with the outside world, so to speak, but also to get people in here and know what we've got going on. So that's cool.
Certainly, yeah. I think it's a great idea. And you alluded to, Twitter's potential video.
That's the key. Once they have that, I will literally be the person who's living on Twitter Spaces if given the opportunity. And it'd be like, oh, this guy's on again. Oh, this guy's on again. And okay, ban me. I'll get another account. I don't care. And I kind of worked out, not perfectly, but pretty well so that they don't ban my accounts anymore. And I've basically beaten people down so badly with that robot that they're just like, oh my God, like another one. So, but there's some other things I can do with the robot. There are some other things I can do with the robot that I am going to perhaps investigate. Like what? Okay, so I can take 10 accounts. Let's say somebody's hosting a space and I want to get their attention and they're a big influencer, but it's difficult to get their attention. A lot of times you can't even send them a direct message. You have to be verified, all this other stuff. Okay, fine. So I'll put 10 accounts in their space. And so they'll see like all these like avatars that are the same. So that creates a little bit of interest. I'm not saying it's overwhelming. It's just interesting. Or what is this? So they might click on it. But then the other thing that I can do, and this is a little unique, but basically I programmed this robot to follow the clicks that caused me to post in the person's chat of their Twitter space. So basically I can just have it like take a new account, log it in, post to this person's Twitter space chat, log that account out, log in a new account, all automated, and do like 200 accounts. And so that when the person looks at their chat, maybe not all 200 are going to show because a lot of them will be shadow banned or ghost banned or whatever, but like 35 will show. I mean, still, if you get 35 of the same message from someone in your chat, you're like, who did this? Why? Like, it's difficult to do that. And so people are interested to be like, well, what is this? And also it comes in as a notification depending on your settings. And then also it can show up in your like notification little bar as well. And so just depending on your settings, it's basically, this is an impressions game and I've had to readjust. And a key is, so I had this community that I started, I didn't really start it, but like I was on TikTok and I would say a lot of success on TikTok. What am I talking about? But like moderate success for like a new person until I don't know, something in the algorithm changed, I think, and a lot of my accounts started to get banned. I don't know why. So then I started creating tons more accounts and I could just never get too much. But when I did get a little bit of success, there were some people who I met. And so I built like a community over there. And so some of the people come and check me out still years later. I'm talking 2 years later, they still come on and check me out just to see how I'm doing. And 2 of them came yesterday. And so I'm like, man, I got to get these guys into Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 because they remind me, you guys are cut from the same cloth. And they're just really interesting people. And they were like my super fans. They were like, oh my God, like they would make like memes about me and all kinds of stuff. And they're really nice people. So once I started to kind of continue to build, it's just about community building is what it's about, whether it's a cryptocurrency or you're building a stream or whatever. So to get more and more people in is great. What doesn't help, or it helps, but I mean, I have to realize this. If I just sit in here and it's just the Telegram and just YouTube, literally, like, James, I watched the movie Castaway and I really empathize with Tom Hanks' character, but it's like, man, I'm out here literally like on an island. And if you do that, no one is going to find you, or very few people. It would be random people who come into our Telegram and random people who come into YouTube. And that's really where I'm at right now. And Instagram, nobody's really going to check you out there. What they will do though, is if you're in, like we say, Twitter spaces, you can kind of bring people in, or additionally, some of these other platforms that I haven't utilized as much as I should because of their lack of archiving ability, but like Kick and Rumble and all that other stuff. So I downloaded that stuff and I'm going to be experimenting with that because that stuff gets like random people in there when, it's like who are interested in stuff. I mean, I guess it's just new blood basically is what it's about when you're building a community. So I'm looking to do that. The other thing is, whenever I host a space, I'm going to be putting the link in the Telegram. And if we ever get disconnected, I want people to have the expectation that, like, just like they know, like, generally, we're always going to be having a VC going. We always have a Twitter space going. Because then once we know it, that's great. But then other communities start to know it, or other people on, and then they'll just start coming in every day themselves. And we don't even have to be like, join the VC or whatever. They'll be like, how do I get in there?
Definitely, yeah. That's a great idea. I just want to say too, like, I it's like a week ago maybe, like we did trivia night. Just like me and a few other people.
Mm-hmm.
And that was so much fun, Rabbi.
Excellent. We're gonna do that again, and that's the kind of content that we do. So, like, I've got that entitled. I'm just testing it, just like here's it, and so good. I'm glad you like it. That's how I met the community, and so I know that's a very popular thing with the people here and with people on Twitter in general, and I enjoy doing it. And so, like, how do I say it? We just firstly we need to get like a small group of people. Like, okay, we're gonna go on. We'll go into that stream on Twitter, and then we just start playing and people jump in, and it's very easy once that happens. So we'll get that going now, or not now, but I mean it's Friday morning, but perhaps tonight, and then every night, so people know every single night that they can get live trivia for like 2 months. If they know that, there are some trivia buffs out there who will be all over this, and they won't know anything about cryptocurrency, and that's fine. And then, so yeah, basically what we have to do, James, is put together, but I have a community, is put together, like, you remember the Jerry Lewis telethon?
Yes.
So it's like that. You have to create content for 24 hours, basically, but it's almost like a variety show. So we've got the trivia segment. There are people, though, who on Twitter love karaoke. And that's a segment that we can, I don't want to say exploit, but like, we can, these are terrible words, like take advantage, but we can benefit from their community as well. It's about community building. And, I mean, we like art. I mean, everything we do is art. That's what's really cool about this. So I think two communities, the trivia community, the karaoke community, other communities, I think we have to be kind of careful about. I'm open to when we host these, and I even have it this way, and being recorded, as I say, it's on Twitter. It being an open mic, talk about whatever you want to talk about. I've always been a fan of free speech, and the only time like I ever will cut anybody off, I mean, people call me all kinds of bad things, and I take it. I don't really care about that. When people like just do sound effects or something like that, that gets really annoying. Just trying to literally like pierce your ears. That's no fun. But aside from that, you can say anything you want. And here's the other thing that I don't like. So I shouldn't say it. Like the Telegram is different. But if you wanted to come into our Harry Potter Obama Sonic open mic and talk about your NFT and it isn't a Sproto, that's fine. I don't care. Some people's NFTs aren't competing with ours like at all. They're like music NFTs, or they're like totally different. So if you want to chill a little bit for that, I'm totally fine with that. If that means that, I mean, that's how we learn about new stuff too, and we might get good ideas from it. You never know. So I think it's good to have that idea exchange. And then other things on Twitter Space. So do you know about Space's dashboard?
I do not know.
Okay. Have you ever hosted Twitter Spaces?
I have not.
Okay. So it's pretty, like, how would I describe it? There's more to it. Have you ever hosted or like been a co-host of a Twitter Space?
No.
Okay. So but you have spoken in a Twitter Space, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard you on this. Okay. Well, basically, it just gives you some extra options. So you have to be able to bring up speakers, and allow co-hosts as a host. Now co-hosts can like mute people and do basically some other things, as can the host. The issue arises that when you get a really busy room, the room can do a few things. Twitter, it depends on your device, but some Android phones, some iOS phones can overheat because it is just such a heavy app when you've got a ton of people in there. And then also it can lag when you've got a ton of requests coming in, so it's good to have co-hosts to handle all that other stuff. But Spaces dashboard specifically is an amazing resource. So it's not going to be a lot of interest to you because you're not a Twitter Space host. However, if you ever, what up, Bond? Welcome, Bond. If you ever want to see the best Twitter Spaces going at any time, do not go on Twitter. Go on Spaces dashboard. You're like, Rabbi, what do you mean? Why wouldn't they be on Twitter? Well, it depends. I'm like the greatest Twitter tester of all time. I have more accounts than anybody and more devices than anybody. So I know the system better than anybody. I'll put it up there. I know it better than Elon Musk. I know their sign-up process better. I can guarantee you that. So to say like I'm an expert in this, like I can say that with some validity, and I can tell you that when you do a search on iOS, it gives you different options than on Android when you search for Twitter Spaces. So firstly, on iOS, you get a search box. Do you have iOS or Android?
iOS.
So you get a search box. So it's not too big of a deal for you to be like, all right, well, I just search HPOS 10i, and if there's a space going, I can find it, or I can look up cryptocurrencies or whatever. Yeah, that's great. But that's less than 50% of the world. It's like most of the world is using Android devices, and there is no search bar on Android devices. And instead, what Android does is it lists every single space out there that's popular. But when I say that's popular, what does that mean? I don't know. That means whatever they want to make for you. If you go on Spaces dashboard, you'll be amazed at how many more spaces are going on at any given time, and you don't know about it. And get this. This was the most surprising thing to me. English is like the third most used language on Twitter Spaces. I was like, what? I don't normally see a lot of non-English stuff, but Japanese is by far the biggest. And then like Arabic is too. The amount of Arabic rooms and the amount of Japanese rooms is a lot of times double what the English rooms are. So what you can do is you can categorize by language. Now, obviously, you're probably going to just want English. So you get all the English rooms. Okay. Then it ranks them by how many people are in each one. So it tells you, like, it's basically it's categorized by the biggest rooms. So you know which ones are buzzing on Twitter Spaces. Then on top of that, a really nice thing that it does is it tells you all of the people who are currently speakers, what their followers are combined. So what does that mean? Basically, like let's say like Elon Musk isn't hosting the space, but he's in your space. It'll be pretty apparent because it'll show like all these like a huge amount of, because he'll be a speaker. All these followers are there. And so it allows you to see like the influence of the room, I guess is what you want to, like a better way to say it. And it just allows for all kinds of categorization and organization of Twitter Spaces that Twitter currently does not have, has not implemented in the like 16 months that Elon Musk has owned the company. And like we've discussed, and the game changer for me is Twitter Spaces video. I don't care if I have to pay for it. I will, like that, I'd be able to figure out. I would literally go on the corner and be like, I need $14 for Twitter Premium this month. I need $8 for Twitter Premium, and get that down like to $0. And I bet I could get it like pretty people would just be like, that's so weird that you need it for Twitter. Like, here's $1. I would, like, if somebody was like, I need $1 for like, you know, I'm hungry. Okay, I understand that one. I get it. But you see that one a lot. Nobody has it for Twitter Premium. But once you got the money, you're streaming, and you're streaming your video. And then it's literally like you're just a constant on there. You'd be a character. And that's how it's going to happen. And I just cannot wait. And now we're like 2 months over when Elon Musk, he said, I hope to have this done by the end of 2023. And now it's March of 2024. And we don't have it. Oh, but I can say this. I did see some mock-ups of some designers at Twitter who have, it was really simple. Like, I expected to be like a little complicated design. No, it was literally like one button, allow video participants or something like that. And that was it. It wasn't like, you know how Zoom has all kinds of like change your background and all your audio and stuff. There's nothing like that. It was just literally one little slider. And it's something. I mean, once they get that though, I mean, people are going to go nuts. I don't know how you police it that well. I mean, from nudity, that's the big one. Like, how do you, I guess on here though, you can be nude. So it's different than, and I guess they do it on Instagram. They police nudity and YouTube really well. So anyway, I think that that's a game changer for me though, because I'll be able to just be like the person who lives on here. And I'll have so many accounts. I'll be in every single Twitter space. I'll just be like, dude, I'm not even going to talk in your Twitter space. I just want to be in there. I want to have a camera there. I want people to watch me. And very soon people will be like, what the hell is this? So we got that going for us, which is nice. So
that's a great idea. I think you're an amazing Twitter space host.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's going to work well for you.
I appreciate that. Any other topics that like we can hit? We hit karaoke, trivia, live music. Anybody who plays live music, we can always put that too. Or there will be people who will. So it's funny. I don't know if you've ever heard of this. It's an NFT. It's called Angry Ape Society. Have you ever heard of this NFT?
I'm unaware.
Okay, so you know what NFTs are, though, of course, right?
Of course.
Okay, so many of these NFTs are based off of other NFTs. So the big one, I think, is Bored Ape Yacht Club. Have you heard of Bored Ape Yacht Club?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you know these things are worth like hundreds of thousands of dollars. Just stupid money. And a lot of other coins are based off of those. So this one is like that. Instead of being Bored Ape Yacht Club, this is Angry Ape Society. Okay, fine. They just took some aspects of that. And I noticed, so I can tell you, this was like January of last year. I noticed randomly, I would go into Twitter spaces and I would see all the time, like hashtag AAS, which is Angry Ape Society. I didn't know that then. But it would be like, stay angry. I'm like, what the hell is that? That's their like hashtag. And this person was always consistently hosting spaces every single night. And it was weird. These were night spaces and I was up all night at the time. So, and so I went into one of these spaces one day and I'm like, hey, I stream my life, yada, yada, yada. And, I got like, first they didn't know what to do with me. And a lot of times these NFTs are like really private. Cryptocurrencies are really private. They don't want anything streamed. They're like, so you get thrown out of a bunch of them. But this one was cool. And then I started like each night getting to know the people there and then found myself hosting a night space with them every single night. So this person who was hosting it, her name is Queen on there. She was, she lived in San Diego. She's a nurse, working nights, taking care of her family. She was doing this not working nights. She was doing the broadcast on nights. And then it was really interesting. They had this community that basically it was probably the closest I've ever seen where they had 24-hour broadcasts. It's like This girl would take over, at least Pacific time, from like 9 p.m. Pacific time to 3 a.m. Pacific time, let's just say. Then 3 a.m. Pacific time, the guy on the East Coast would take over, and he would do a morning show. He still does that morning show for 2 hours every morning. Then someone would do a day show for this group, and then there would be like maybe an evening show where somebody would like stream video games or do something on like Discord or something in addition to the Twitter space, and then this night show every single night for like a month. And it was, these people were not getting paid to do this, but it was very much like your local radio station where they had hosts and you knew who the host was going to be, and so they had to fill content. And so the way we were able to fill content was back then, I would just play music. And so I would just take requests. So that's another thought too, James, not thinking about this, is just taking music requests. Now, I have to be really careful about that because I can't play copyrighted music. So a lot of times I have to I have to do all kinds of things. I have to like shut off my microphones on the YouTubes if I play music, which is fine. No big deal. Usually karaoke is easier because I can like either if I'm singing, my voice throws off the algorithm, or if somebody else is singing, it's through a smaller speaker and it throws off the algorithm, and also their voice is throwing it off as well. So and it's the key is to preserve the YouTube stream as much as possible. So we had this like 24-hour radio show going for like a month or more, and it's like, well, what happened to that? The one of the devs of the coin, it wasn't a coin, it was just an NFT. I would say it was, I don't know, just not that appreciative, I think, of some of the people and the work that they did, and they kind of just got sick of their hard work every single night coming in and doing all this stuff. They got sick of it and just the lack of appreciation. So what they ended up doing was just going to, and they had a lot of friends online. So they went to other accounts, other people went to other things, and the group somewhat disbanded, but it taught me how to do Twitter Spaces pretty well. And then I would go into cryptocurrencies and do trivia with them. I learned a little. I played in people's trivia, and I would dominate these trivia rooms. And be like, oh man, like this is too easy. And I would dominate these like name that tune rooms. That's another one we could do, is name that tune. So you familiar with the game Name That Tune? They play a little bit of a song and then you have to sing what the song is.
Absolutely.
Excellent. So these are like games that work well for audio, and you kind of have to play to that because that's the medium that we have with Twitter Spaces currently. Once Twitter Spaces goes video, though, that changes everything. That's when all that TikTok shit gets online, where people have like games in the background, and they're like raffles, and people are like scratching off lottery tickets and looking at baseball cards. All that shit becomes all over Twitter Spaces once they start to allow that. And that's going to be a game changer too, because what is so interesting about Twitter Spaces in general is that it allows for 10 people to speak simultaneously. Nobody else allows that. The best you're going to get is on like TikTok. Everybody's account has to have at least 1,000 followers, and it takes a long time to get 1,000 followers organically. And it's very easy to lose that ability to stream, like because of a penalty or something. But I think the best you can do is either 4 or 6 people simultaneously. Now you can video chat, which is cool, but it doesn't save. Oh wait, it saves in a weird way. Here's what it does. It's different than Instagram. On Instagram, if we go live together and we're done after going live, I can say post to Instagram and it'll post that to Instagram. And that's cool. And that's what I wanted to do. TikTok does not do that. It just, we'll be online together. We'll stream together. I'll say end the video. And it'll save the video, but it'll save it in my, like in an online archive. If I want to post that video to my account, like I really like what we said or whatever, I have to go to this online archive. I have to download it to my device, and I have to upload it to my profile. It is ridiculous. And if you want to do a lot of content, you can't do that. It's ridiculous. The whole upload download thing drives you crazy and will just destroy your relationship with your ISP. So what you have to do is go with what allows you to do this kind of streaming. So Instagram allows that. And I'm just, I'm like dumbfounded why one of these companies hasn't just been like, oh, okay, so people want the ability to video stream and archive it and share it with their friends on all the platforms. That's the ultimate thing. If somebody can do that, they're going to win. But nobody wants, like, YouTube only allows one-way communication. Basically, Twitter doesn't allow video. Instagram limits the amount of people, like it's like 2 or 4 people with whom you can, like, no, not one of these has the upper hand on the other. It's up for grabs, basically. And I think that X wants that everything app experience, and if they want it, that's what they're going to have to do. And they're very close. All they need to do is bridge to that video gap, and they already have the user base. They already have the functionality. It's basic and it's primitive, but it works. And so that's going to be a game changer. And it's just a matter of time then. But when we're able to do that, can you imagine imagine what our VCs look like when we've got like 10 people on camera, and you've got Vamp with all her face paint, and you've got multiple people face painting at once, and they've got their animals and all kinds of other stuff. And then you're just a random stranger who would walk into this room and be like, what is this? And we're all really nice to you and, invite you into our group. You'd be like, oh, I made new friends. But you can't see any of that currently. And so our personalities can't really come through. So I think it'll be a game changer, not just for my streaming ability, but for the entire community.
I agree, Rabbi. It looks good.
Excellent.
I'm optimistic about the future.
As am I. Now,
where are you living currently?
Undisclosed location. That's all I can say at this point. I had to make some concessions to be able to stream, and so, like, the first thing is the people with whom I'm living. It's like a bed. It's like a Airbnb kind of a deal. They don't want to be on the stream, and they don't want to be heard on the stream. So I kind of have to be a little quieter. Not necessarily. I'm not. But it's more comfortable. Well, how do I want to put it? I'd lived in that other room. Well, I'd lived in that house for like 5 years. I'd been streaming in there for like 2.5 years, and I mean, it's just become a bunker. And it's just a small room. This is a much bigger room. I can spread out, and but it's not permanent. And so, but when you're facing homelessness very, very quickly, anything's better than that. So it'll at least give me, hopefully, a month or two to be able to get something going. And then I have backups of that as well, basically, to get established. And so, as I was saying to some people, it's basically like, I was looking at my W-2s. I made like $118,000 like the last year that I worked, and I had gotten a raise to be like $126,000 or something like that. And then I decided to do this full time, and I figured, you know what? There's no way it's going to take me more than a year to do this. It's like, oh, here we are, like a year and a half after that. It's like, no, it definitely can take a long time. But I have the ability to earn that, and so that That definitely. I mean, when I have that, I'm buying all kinds of gadgets, and I've got like laptops, and I'm doing all kinds of stuff. Now the question is like, well, what was the big thing that hurt you? It was my internet connectivity, and or I always felt it was, and the when you don't know when your internet's going to go out, and you're living with 10 other people, and like literally they're like moving the router and the internet goes down. When you're trying to like preserve your job to do that, it's very difficult. It's just, and at least the way it worked for me was most of the people with whom I was working, they were permanent employees of the organization and had gotten a stipend for like extra internet. I did not. I came in on a contractor a little after the pandemic hit. I don't know what that is. Anyway, and then did not have the same ability to have this like a separate kind of internet. So what I ended up doing was buying a whole different hotspot in addition to my normal internet, and it was still just insufficient for some of the things that I needed. And the reason why, it's my own fault. I mean, I was doing a lot of video streaming and for my job and for the position as well. I was doing a lot of uploading and downloading of stuff, and I was getting throttled. Long story short, I recognized, like, and I didn't have the same ability. I was living with 10 other people. I didn't have the same ability to just install new internet in someone else's house. And especially because the people who owned the house literally were internet. That was like what they did. They like were, their job was ensuring like proper internet for businesses. And so it was just slap in their face when like your internet sucks. And the reason why it sucked, the router was literally in the furthest part of the house that it could have been to work. Honestly, the same is true where I am now, but at least I would say that the connectivity, like I had that Twitter space going for a day, and I had to just test it out. I did a YouTube for like 24 hours. If I can do something for 24 hours, that's as good as I can do it. Like maybe I won't get all my YouTubes going for 24 hours. They get like 12 hours is all I want for those. 24 hours, it won't view to the public. Anything longer than 12 hours is unwatchable to the public for most accounts. So it has to be 12 hours or lower. And so basically, I just have to make sure that whatever my YouTubes are less than 12 hours. And then I can tell the internet here, I would say, is, I want to say more consistent, but it's still probably too early to tell. And then any kind of backup of a place that I may have, I don't know about the internet. However, at a certain point, like I'm in a position maybe to just be able to get a job to be able to get better internet and do that other stuff. So it's a process, as you know, like with anything. And with this back here, this what do you call it? This projector. It's like, it's obviously not ideal. I wouldn't have the back of the bed and all that other stuff. I don't have the current ability to move that. However, you know, if I develop a little bit of success after a month or something, I can make it so that I just have a plain white wall and just a projector, and we do all kinds of cool shit on the projector. You know, this is just basically me testing. Honestly, it's like, where the fuck did you get a projector, Rabbi? You're broke as fuck. I've had this projector for like 3 years. It's a projector that literally fits in your pocket. It's like this big, and it's kind of one of the futures of technology, that you're going to have a thing in your phone that basically shoots out a projector on the wall. So you don't need, I mean, you'll have a screen still for your phone, but it'll have a projector ability. So you don't need an extra projector. It'll be like, oh, just put it on the wall. And you'll be able to even perhaps do touchscreen on the wall with it, depending on its augmented reality capabilities. But just what I'm saying is projector technology has come a long way to the point where it's basically in discernible from an LED or any other kind of high def type of, television. And you can also project it onto buildings and make the buildings look like they're moving. I mean, it's incredible. Have you seen some of the projectors on buildings? James, did you say something? Have you ever seen the projectors on the building? I see that it says you're speaking. I don't know if I'm having issues. Well, I don't know. Let's see here. I'm gonna leave with one of mine and come back. Hold on. James, can you hear me? Okay, so maybe not in that account. So we'll do the same with this one. All right, James, can you hear me? All right. Maybe it is. I mean, I could be wrong. It might be on your end too. I could be wrong though. So you could jump down and come back and see, or you're just not talking at all, and I'm just over here.
dishes, your clothes, and what is effectively bottled water. So the system, and by the way, I not only have one, but I just bought a new house. I'm downsizing, and of course, I'm putting in a life source system. How could I not? It needs no maintenance, no salt, no monthly service. Now, warranty limitations do apply. And they're celebrating their 40th anniversary. And they're doing something right on this. Call 800-WATER-99, 800-WATER-99. Visit likesourcewater.com. Likesourcewater.com. You can taste and feel the difference.
Southland weather from KFI, mostly cloudy this morning. 40% chance of rain starting this afternoon. Highs in the 50s to low 60s. Rain likely tonight. Rain off and on all day tomorrow with highs in the 50s to mid 60s. Still a chance for rain on Sunday morning, but it should clear in the afternoon. Mostly sunny skies on the way to start next week with highs in the 50s to mid 60s. It's 54 in Fullerton, 52 Mission Viejo. Let's check a closure in Santa Fe Springs on the 605.
605 northbound at Sloss, and this has been with us most of the morning. An earlier fatal crash investigation there. The Sloss and off-ramp is closed. And as a result, traffic pretty slow all the way back from the 105 on that northbound side of the 605. Southbound side of the 605, pretty good offensive brake lights starting at about Beverly Boulevard, and it is slow all the way down past the 5. We have some new problems that just cleared, actually, southbound 110 freeway at Stadium Way. Little accident there, just got the push off to the right shoulder, so that's good news. It's out of your way. As far as the San Fernando Valley conditions, we're looking pretty decent. Southbound 405, you will find brake lights starting at about Sherman Way on down through the Sepulveda Pass. They clear up a lot before you get to Sunset Boulevard. And as far as conditions on Pacific Coast Highway, it's the never-ending question. Actually, things are looking pretty good. Both sides of PCH there in the Santa Monica area as you make your way on up towards Malibu. Not seeing any major delays for you, so that's a nice change. Hopefully, the storm won't ruin that. Will Colesreimer, KFI in the sky.
History is beautiful, brutal, and often ridiculous. Join me, Ben Bull, and me, Noel Brown, as we dive into some of the strangest stories from across the span of human civilization in ridiculous history. Whether we're exploring the accidental invention of whole music or how people used to plant pineapples, join us to hear the many ways history can be oh so ridiculous. Listen to Ridiculous History on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you find your favorite podcast.
Jim was at the laundromat when he heard, "It's your said we're rocket, senor," but his nose said, "Hey, freshest scent ever." Following his nose, Jim found a man pouring clean scent beads into the washer. The scent of freshness. Jim blurted, "Sir, your scent maracas smell amazing." You could call them scent maracas, but most noses call them Gain scent beads. Try Gain scent beads. Way fresher than detergent alone.
Simply starting is what matters most. That's why with Peloton bikes, you get thousands of classes, so you can find the one that will get you going.
My name is Scooter Extreme. Welcome to your low impact rides.
With instructors that take the guesswork out of working out.
I'm here for you every step of the way.
And Peloton Entertainment, so you can watch your favorite shows and live sports as you ride. Get started with a Peloton bike or bike plus rental at onepeloton.com/bike/rentals. Terms apply.
Prepare calendar. Today, March 1st. Today is Baby Sleep Day. Good luck with that. It's International Ideas Month and Welsh Corgi Day. Corgi in Welsh translates to dwarf dog. That's just being, it's the National Day of Unplugging. Can you make it all day? Employee Appreciation Day. And it's Minnesota Day, and those Minnesotans can use some pop. Happy birthday, Justin Bieber, Kesha, Ray Fonte, Bellows, Roger Daltrey, and 1 hour. Back your daily calendar from KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640. Bill Handel here on a Friday morning, March 1. Coming up at 8 o'clock Foodie Friday with Neil. And we're going to talk about the most, probably the best pizza in the entire country, which I bet you didn't know about. That's going to be a surprise for you. And then World in Review at 8:30, where I look back at the big stories that have happened both to us and around the world. Okay, insurance here in California. Let me tell you why insurance is so crazy. For people that live in fire-prone areas, burn areas, you're not getting home insurance. You're not getting property insurance.
for people like me who had my insurer say, getting out of the state, goodbye, and I'm looking for an insurance company to basically pick up my property. By the way, my insurance lapsed November 11th. That's when it ended, and they said, no, thank you, we're gone. I figured, okay, I'm going to get another insurance company. It took me 2.5 weeks. I was bare for 2.5 weeks. I did not sleep for 2.5 weeks. And I finally was able to pick up an insurance policy for the low price of twice as much as I was paying for my previous policy. So that's my personal story. Insurance industry groups have called what is happening a bomb-throwing bogus advocacy group. What are they talking about? They're talking about a guy named Harvey Rosenfield and Consumer Watchdog. Consumer Watchdog being an advocacy program that represents consumers against insurance companies, keep rates low, to basically represent them. The insurance lobby is huge. Insurance companies' lobby is huge. We, as purchasers of insurance, there really isn't a good lobbying group. Well, you got Consumer Watchdog, which is one of the watchdog groups that represent us and are on our side. Well, home insurers have stopped writing new policies, I told you. They've left parts of the state that are prone to wildfire. We're done. And so you have a new voice joining in the ranks of the critics who are nailing Consumer Watchdog. And that happens to be the insurance commissioner, Ricardo Laura. And here's what's new. This guy represents the consumer. This is the insurance commissioner, is basically dead set against the insurance company. He sets the rates. The insurance commission sets the rates. The only state in the union where an insurance company wants to raise rates has to go in front of this guy and the commission and say, here's why we want to raise the rates. And a whole lot of time, the commission says no. And a whole lot of time, the insurance companies say, we want a 10% raise, and here's why. And the insurance commission says, no, we'll give you 7%. And so they walk away, and what ends up happening, based on the rates they can't get and the market, and the cost of rebuilding, and the number of homes that have gone up in flames, it's wiped out the market. They're losing money, the insurance companies. And they're getting out. They're just getting out of California. I was there for 2.5 weeks. I was scrambling to find an insurance company to pick me up. Twice as much. Thank you very much. And I don't know when I bought a year's policy. I don't know what's going to happen. I'll tell you one thing. If my house burns down, well, now it doesn't matter. The house can burn down all at once. Because as a matter of fact, if it does burn down, I'm going to rebuild it with insurance money, and it's going to be brand new. This is a case of Jewish lightning, where you torch your own house for the insurance payments.
Seriously?
Well, that's what they call it.
No, they don't. Nobody calls it that. Nobody calls it that.
Oh, a lot of people call it that. But that doesn't matter. That was a little bit of a tangent. So let's move on to the fact that the Consumer Watchdog, which is on behalf of the consumer, the elected insurance commissioner, Ricardo Laura in this case, is elected by the people, which means he should be on the side of the people. Right? He is nailing Consumer Watchdog, which represents the people. The consumer. What is going on? And by the way, Laura wouldn't even have a job if it weren't for Consumer Watchdog. And what is this about? How does all this pan out? Okay, let's go to Prop 103. And that happened in 1988. And there was a group that came out of that called Consumer Watchdog. Why am I thinking Robert Dole? It isn't. Geez, names sometimes. I'll stand up and start screaming the name any minute. Vice President under
Al Gore?
Al Gore. Thank you very much. Name just slipped my mind.
Sorry, what is Al Gore, Alex?
No, I don't think so.
Jeopardy, that Jeopardy reference. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, what he did, Ralph Nader entered that fight and guaranteed that Al Gore lost because he was a spoiler. And there's a whole history of that, and if you know his name, you know what it's about. In the meantime, the Proposition 103, Rosenfield helped write, and it enacted literally the most stringent insurance industry regulation in the country. Created the Office of the Insurance Commissioner to head the State Department of Insurance, an elected office, and it's the only place in the country where if an insurance company comes in, wants to raise the rate, as I said, has to go in front of the insurance commissioner, and most of the time the commission says no, or lowers the amount of increase. And it was all about providing transparency into the market, the insurance market, prevent insurers from charging excessive fees, excessive as determined by the insurance commission, not the market, inadequate or unfairly discriminatory rates, certain areas, redlining, for example, minority areas would charge more rates. I mean, there was a lot of discrimination there. And that happened. That was 35 years ago. So let me come back and explain what's going on, because there is something happening right now, very, very strange. And I will write down the name of Al Gore, so next time I mention his name, I will remember it. And by the way, that's right. And just for your information, Jewish lightning is a thing. We're coming back. I'm just saying, don't say it. Oh, okay. Okay. Perpetuate it. You can look it up. Look it up. Please, look it up. Amy King, live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
The big storm moving through Northern California has prompted Yosemite National Park to shut down. Visitors have been told to leave no later than noon today. Several feet of snow is expected to fall in the park through the weekend. A factory in Aruba that makes environmentally friendly buses for LA Metro and Foothill Transit Systems and others is shutting down. Rev Group says the ENC bus business and plant will close once it completes its outstanding orders. About 400 people will lose their jobs. The Mega Millions and Powerball jackpots combined are now worth more than $1 billion. Tonight's Mega Millions drawing is at $607 million to anyone matching all 6 winning numbers. Tomorrow night's Powerball jackpot is up to $443 million. Increasing chance of rain through the day, highs in the 50s to low 60s. This report brought to you by Stand Up to Cancer. From the Southern California Toyota Dealers Traffic Center, let's go places and check in with the KFI in the sky. Got a crash in downtown LA on the 101.
We sure do. It's the northbound side of the 101 right there at Mission, and getting some interesting reports from this one. Apparently, somebody hit somebody, ran into another car there, and then that driver just jumped out of the car and went running off the freeway and left the car on the freeway. So we're on our way to check that out. Whatever happened there, it's not good for you to drive. Northbound side of the 101 Mission is where it happened, and that's going to really bog things up out of the East LA interchange. Also, northbound side of the 605 in Slauson, that off-ramp still blocked as they wrap up an investigation into an earlier fatal crash. Still quite a few delays back from the 105 on that one. If you are headed northbound or southbound, but especially northbound on the 15 through Rainbow Valley, that off-ramp there, bad crash. All the northbound lanes closed. Southbound, the one lane is closed on the southbound side. Both sides are jammed there, just south of Temecula. Will Kohlschreiber, KFI in the sky.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia gives you access to all, every audience, live conversations, trusted influencers, and the insights and data you need to grow. iHeartMedia is your access company. Go to iHeartResults.com for more.
The free iHeartRadio app is #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one. Discover a new podcast from our library of over 350,000 titles. Here's an iHeartRadio podcast preview.
On September 16th, 1961, Betty and Barney Hill cut their vacation short and decided to drive home.
They were having difficulty finding their way around the city, and Barney decided he just wanted to drive home, knowing that they would arrive at their home on New Hampshire's seacoast at about 2 o'clock in the morning.
What they saw that night in the New Hampshire sky would change everything.
I began walking across the highway, looking up at the object with the binoculars, putting them down, shaking my head, saying, well, this just can't be true. I don't believe it.
A light in the sky.
At first she thought of a falling star, but she realized the falling stars don't fall upwards, and that's what this one was doing.
2 years later, the hills would undergo hypnosis.
He said that the camera will stop. You're really good at it. I think so. I can get away from it. If I get the car door open, I can run in the window side.
That became known the world over.
Dr. Simon gave me a post-it-note suggestion. He said if I'm more than two, I could sketch the star map. But if I didn't want to, I didn't have to. So like 2 weeks later, I sketched.
Their account has been scrutinized.
Under the influence of hypnosis, especially if you're highly hypnotizable, you are even more susceptible to contamination and distortion.
By scientists, skeptics, theorists, and believers.
She wound up building a total of more than 20 three-dimensional models and was able to find one and only one pattern that matched what Betty had drawn.
What happened on that night journey in 1961? Were the hills confused about what they saw, or did they have an encounter with beings out of this world? From iHeartRadio and Aaron Mankey's Grim and Wild, this is Strange Arrivals.
Listen and follow on the iHeartRadio app. #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one. All the good stuff. Yeah. Camps keeps you on top of pop culture. The Red Hot Chili Peppers are heading to Groove City as co-headliners for the 2024 Harley-Davidson Homecoming Festival. Taking place at Veterans Park at Milwaukee's Lakefront this summer, Jelly Roll and Hardy are the other co-headliners, with The Offspring and Cypress Hill also on the bill. As always, there'll be plenty of other Harley-related activities, and this year includes a special tribute to 90-year-old biker, former HG designer, and VP Willie G. Davidson, grandson of company co-founder William A. Davidson. The fest is set for the weekend of July 26th through 28th, with the Chili's, The Offspring, and Cypress Hill all hitting the stage on Saturday the 27th. Full lineup tickets and other info is available at hdhomecoming.com. Alright, and that's what's poppin' on Camps on iHeartRadio.
You want to work from 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. and then 2 p.m. to 10 p.m.? I wish I had the autonomy. Like, I'll just have a radio show from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then tomorrow I'll do it from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. No, Kelly, I'm just going to do radio in the morning next week. Why? Because I got to do.
Live 7 to 10 p.m. on KFI and on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app. And this is KFI. I'm here, and this is the last segment before we go to Foodie Friday with Neil. Some great stuff. The survey just came out, and the best pizza that has ever been produced, I'm going to talk about. Neil's giving me the weird look. You'll see. And then this week's World in Review, where I review the big stories that we have covered throughout the week. Now, 1988, the people of the state of California passed something called Prop 103, which protects the consumer against insurance companies. And it's established an insurance commissioner elected by the people who effectively